This is the Refinery featuring Free Radical Network, the party of choice, and the Conservative Union here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
So welcome to Reculture on the Refinery. This is a special Refinery edition that JD and I are putting together to talk about YouTube. Why were we talking about YouTube? The YouTube interviews Obama business has happened since the State of the Union address, and it has been a story everywhere. So we have a little bit of a different perspective than most of what you're seeing in your social media and your news feeds. And so we wanted to take some time and walk through this in a more detailed way than we could do on the Refinery. And by the end, we hope that you'll see things a little bit differently. So first off, before we even get into the whole details of the things that we're going to talk about, we want to address the controversy a little bit. A lot of the reaction that we've seen has been over people saying that they're embarrassed by the president inviting YouTube stars to interview with him, that they're, think it's lowering the office of the president, lowering respect for the office, that we're being mocked around the world, that there's no dignity left in the office, that somehow Obama meeting with YouTube stars, one of whom bathed in cereal and things like that, are beneath the office. And there's been a very scoldy tone around the criticism. But most of it is focused on the YouTube stars themselves and their videos, and not the content of the actual interviews. And that's fair to think about that and to include that into the conversation. But a lot of people have been making much ado about it and missing a greater opportunity and a greater point that JD and I'd like to talk about. So before we do anything else, though, I'd like JD to start off with why YouTube matters.
Thanks, Fishy. YouTube matters because, it's huge. At this point, YouTube is really competing for views with television, with everything. The kind of content that you get on YouTube, the kind of quality. You see full movies that are appearing on YouTube. You see series like Video Game High School, stuff that many millions of dollars have gone into. The production quality, just everything about YouTube has just bloomed into this huge juggernaut of culture, and it's accessible to everybody. It's something that you can get in 2 seconds on your computer, and you're a part of a community. And that's another thing, is that you build this relationship with the people that you watch, and that's something that has been largely ignored in most of the assessments of the president's interviews, that they really don't take into account the fact that the interviewers, I should say, that the interviewers have their own channels, and on those channels they have millions of subscribers and millions, hundreds of millions of views, and those views come from someplace. Those views come from dedicated communities of people who are passionate about the content that these creators put out. And getting to the creators side of things, it's kind of a strange dichotomy that you get with these YouTubers, because on the one hand, the democratization of media, the fact that anybody can be a YouTuber, has opened up the field to so many people, but it also has created, the ones who've gotten really successful have built their lives around this. They have actually been able to sustain a living off of being a YouTube star, and they put hard work into this stuff, and there are businesses. People are employed because of YouTube, because of their successes on YouTube, and I think that's something that has been largely ignored by a lot of the coverage of the interviews. But it's why YouTube is important. It's not just cat videos on the internet. It's not just funny stuff. It's not just he bit my finger. Charlie bit my finger. It's more than that.
Right, absolutely. And in addition, it hits a younger demographic. People are moving away from television more and more, especially as they get younger. Fox News may have really great ratings compared to other non-network outlets, but they don't match network television, and in some cases, they don't match views like YouTube. And the thing is, you can only communicate with the people who are in front of you, but YouTube actually, you pull the content down that you want. So it's very self-selected. People have no problem understanding that cable networks have vast different amounts of channels, some things they like and some things they don't. What they might not really understand is that YouTube sort of works the same way. There are channels that people will find resonate with them, channels that don't. And it isn't just people getting lucky one time on a viral video. These are people who put in effort every week, week in and week out, sometimes daily, to put out content and build a community to support it. And some of them, thereby making their living doing it. It's far more complex than the cat video thing.
No, absolutely. I mean, you have the top YouTuber out there, a person whose username is PewDiePie, Felix. I'm not even going to try and murder his last name. He's Swedish, and he puts out multiple videos a day, and a lot of them are him just playing video games with commentary, him commenting on video games that he plays. A lot of them are probably not what one would consider to be, this is not Downton Abbey. It's not. It's not. You're not watching Breaking Bad, but you're watching something that a lot of people find entertaining. It's very relatable, and it's funny. It's stuff that his demographic hits, and he's got the most subscribers out of anyone. He's got I believe it's 14 million subscribers. Think about that. Every day, multiple videos are going out to 14 million people worldwide from this one guy, and on a video he averages around 1.5 million views. O'Reilly would be happy with those numbers for sure.
Absolutely. And when you look at
and that's the low end. I'm sorry, I just need to say that's the low end.
Right. Because subscribers isn't the number of people necessarily viewing. It takes an extra step to actually subscribe and to gain a group of people who want to see your content on a normal, regular basis. One of the things that I thought about, YouTube is more of an apolitical community. People don't go to different channels usually for politics. But if someone in the channel that they watch engages in something political, the way that these YouTube stars did with the president, that's an in that goes around the mainstream traditional media and goes directly to those people, those supporters. And the collective subscribers of the three channels was something like 11 million, I think, between the three channels of the three people who met with the president.
It totaled about 1,750 some odd million views altogether combined. That's just a mind-blowing amount of views.
And that's how many views that all of them have achieved over the course of time.
Yes.
And that's pretty impressive with just three people managing to communicate that many times to that many people. The left is going after these people. The left is going after the viewers on YouTube. And they're going after them with a vengeance. And the president trolled us all, essentially, by picking these YouTubers, having an interview, skipping regular media, just making this an event. But every one of those people saw the president speaking directly to someone they care about and follow. And that made an impression on them. The president didn't think those people were too small to talk to.
Absolutely not. And something that really needs to be said is that the communal value of these YouTube channels, it really can't be overstated because of just how important it is. I mean, you've got YouTubers who have a real direct communication, a real direct link to their communities, to their subscribers, and I mean, it comes down to sharing life experiences at this point because of the way, the nature of the vlog. You get to hear people when they're down, when they're up, when they've lost somebody, when something good happens in their life. The kind of connection there emotionally. There are millions of people who are emotionally invested in these YouTubers, and when you are talking, when you have one of those people that you are emotionally invested in, like Glozell, who has a really connected audience, a really connected subscriber base, who she's taken with her on trips to Jerusalem. She has. I've in preparation for reading up on something that so many people did not do. I actually tried to go and investigate some of the stuff that these YouTubers have done in the past, and Glozell, who turns out to be a really devout Christian, took her YouTubers with her as she went to visit the place where Jesus was born in Bethlehem. She did all these things. There's an emotional connection. There's a real kinship that's going on between these YouTubers and their audience. So when they have these discussions with the president, I mean, it's like an envoy from you to the president. That's what Glozell was doing. She was acting as sort of an avatar of her audience base, and that's a really, I mean, it's an interesting form of representation that is more direct than these guys are ever going to feel with their congresspeople.
Absolutely. And when we're talking about the reaction that people had to this event, we had people all over the right, really big names. I know Steven Crowder made a comment. I know Rob Lowe made a comment. People were making memes about cereal and bathtubs, and that was the thing they focused on, instead of on the good opportunities that we could take lessons from. I understand people being disappointed and angry and upset, and I'm not saying that it's inappropriate to feel those things, but they don't really accomplish anything. If you sit around and point at the president and say he's demeaning the office, this is not news. This is something we've experienced for years now. This is nothing new. It just happens to have different characters involved. But what we can do is look at the opportunities that we are missing and that we can take from this. Look at the lesson that we get for free from watching the White House and learn how to do it and do it better. And not inviting the same people or people even with the same interests or whatever. I'm not saying that. And we'll get to those kind of solutions at the end of the show here. But I'm saying that we need to study this and take a hint. The president is talking without media interference to millions of people. There have been 2.8 million hits on the White House video alone, just the White House's version of it. That's not to say what the other channels have done. In just a week. In less than a week, in just a few days. The president has talked to that many people without a media filter and got his message directly to them. Did he answer questions that were tough? Well, some of those interviewers did ask questions the mainstream media wouldn't ask. Did he answer them seriously? Maybe, maybe not. But that's not the point. He got to put his spin on anything that they asked directly to those people, unchallenged and unfiltered. And that's something we need to learn from.
Absolutely. And, another thing that, to get back to the trolling aspect of it, I think that it needs to be pointed out that we took the bait so much on this. And, you mentioned how many people talked about Glozell and the memes and stuff. We have gotten away from the fact that he addressed so many people so directly, and all we want to talk about is green lipstick and a bathtub with cereal in it. Like, it is beyond me that people